Good morning, grade 9 students. In this video, we'll continue our lesson about the cardiovascular system. We will continue talking about the cardiac activity, part 1. In the first part, we talk about the heart, that is the muscle that pumps the blood all over the body. It's composed of right side and left part and right part. Left part, the blood is oxygenated, rich in oxygen. The blood has bright red color. And we said that the right side has a part that is poor in oxygen, it's deoxygenated, it has dark red color. Also, we talk about the different parts of the heart. We talk about the septum. We talk about the myocardium. We talk about the different cavities of the heart, the left and the different cavities of the heart, the right atrium, the left atrium, or right auricle, left auricle, and we have the right ventricle and the left ventricle. We talk about the function of the bicuspid and the tricuspid valve. We talk about the function of the sigmoid valves. Also, we talked about the function of the arteries, pulmonary artery, veins, pulmonary veins, and all of these notes. You should study them before we start into this activity or this part. Starting with this part, as you know, the blood contracts and it relaxes as well. So heart beats in a rhythmic periodic manner. What does this mean? A rhythmic periodic manner. So the average heartbeat rate is about 70 to 75 beats per minute. So your heart beats about 70 to 75 beats per minute. So every minute, the heart beats about 70 to 75 times. Every beat takes about, so and we have in a minute, so every beat takes about 0.8 seconds. How do we get this? 60 divided by 75. So 60 minutes divided by 75 beats. So every beat takes about 0.8 seconds. So in every heartbeat, the heart contracts for 0.4 seconds and it relaxes also for 0.4 seconds, meaning that half the time, so the heart, every heartbeat takes 0.8. So the heart beat takes about 0.8 seconds. Half of it is for relaxation, and the second half is for contraction. So half of 0.8 is 0.4. So 0.4 for relaxation and 0.4 seconds for contraction. So here the heartbeat contains of both relaxation and contraction. Both of them they have the same time. So contraction for 0.4 seconds and relaxation for 0.4 seconds as well. So here we have what's known by the contraction and relaxation of the heart. So as a conclusion for this slide, the heart beats in a rhythmic periodic manner, meaning that it beats every heartbeat takes about 0.8. This 0.8 is divided into two, 0.4 seconds for relaxation and 0.4 seconds for contraction. Okay, so this is related to the heartbeats and related to the time of the heartbeat. So it beats for 0.8 seconds every heartbeat, zero point 0.4 for relaxation, and zero point 0.4 for contraction. So what do we call these and what are the different phases of the heartbeat? Cardiac activity, as I said, during beating is 0.8 seconds. We have something called systole and diastole. Systole and diastole, they are divided into zero point 0.4 seconds for each of them. We have the auricular systole and we have the ventricular systole and we have the diastole, which is called the general diastole. So here, whenever you hear the word systole, meaning that we have contraction. Whenever you hear the word diastole, meaning that we have relaxation. So as we said, the heart contracts as well as it relaxes. So at the same time for relaxation as well as it's for contraction. Contraction for the heart is divided into auricular systole and ventricular systole. What does this mean? What the meaning of auricular systole and what the meaning of ventricular systole? while relaxation it's referred to as general diastole. So systole is divided into, as I said, auricular and ventricular. Auricular, from its name, is related to what? To the auricles, while the ventricular is related to what? It's related to the ventricles. So auricular systole and ventricular systole. Auricular is related for the auricles and ventricular is related to the ventricles. What happens and what are the different events that occur in each phase? We will start to determine this. This is the summary of the whole lesson. Let's move into the details. To move into the details, let's start with the auricular systole. These are the phases of the cardiac cycle. So we have auricular systole, ventricular systole, and general diastole. Auricular systole. What happens during the auricular systole? These events, we have to study them. So you have to know what's happening in each of these different phases. So you have to study these notes. First, auricular systole. As we said, systole is referred to what? For contraction. So whenever I said the word systole, meaning that I'm talking about contraction. So auricular systole is the contraction of the auricles. So first, the auricles will contract. Contraction of the auricles, since we have the auricles and below it we have the ventricles. So whenever the auricles contract, the blood will move from the auricles toward the ventricle. So blood flows from the auricles to the ventricles. Whenever I finish this note or this slide, I'm going to pick one of the students to tell me what's happening. And during this, bicuspid and tricuspid valves, they open to allow the blood to flow from auricles to ventricles, whereas the sigmoid valves, they are closed. So this is the first phase, auricular systole. This phase takes 0.1 seconds. We said that 0.1 seconds is for the auricular systole, and we said contraction is 0.4 and relaxation for 0.4. If I ask you, if the auricular systole is 0.1 second, what is the time for the ventricular systole? Anyone who knows, raise your hand. Let me check. Who will answer this question? So if the auricular systole is 0.1 second, what is the duration for the ventricular systole? Who can give me the answer for this? Yes, Amir. First one who raised their hand, Amir. Yes, Amir. Can you give me the answer?
0.3 seconds.
How did you know this? 0.3 seconds. How did you calculate it? Can you tell me?
Because for the first one, it's 0.4, and it has both auricular systole and
Systole and
ventricle
ventricular
systole.
systole.
So 0.4 minus 0.1 is 0.3.
Excellent. Very good, Amir. Very good. Excellent. So auricular systole, Amir said it's 0.1, right? So auricular systole is 0.1. So if you have this one, it's 0.1 seconds. So what is the duration for the ventricular systole? All of it is 0.4. So the total is 0.4. So we subtract 0.4 minus 0.1. So it will be 0.3 seconds. Very good, Amir. So here, the systole is contraction. All of it, the whole duration for the systole is 0.4 seconds. If the auricular systole is 0.1, so what is the time for the ventricular? It's 0.4 minus 0.1, so it's 0.3 seconds. Okay, very good. Here we determined first what is known by the auricular systole. So auricular systole, 0.1 seconds. The auricles, what happens? It's called auricular systole. So auricular systole, the auricles contract. Systole, it means contraction. So auricular systole, the auricles contract. So the blood will move from the auricles down to the ventricles. So blood flows from the auricles to the ventricles. Bicuspid and tricuspid valves, they open to allow the blood to flow, while the sigmoid valves, they are closed. So I will pick now let's move to Adam. Adam, can you tell me what happens during the auricular systole? Adam Yahya. Yes, Adam? Can you tell me what's happening during the auricular systole? Adam Yahya, you can speak right now. Yes. Okay, Kalam.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
here.
can you tell me? You're raising your hand. So can you tell me what happens during the auricular systole?
First of all, the oracles contract.
Very good.
Then
First one, auricles
yeah, first
contract.
one,
This first event. Very good. Second,
yeah, the second event is that the blood flows from the oracles to the ventricles again.
very good. The auricles flow, the blood flows, sorry, from the auricles to the ventricles. Very good. Second,
And lastly, I think the bicuspid, or how to pronounce it, and the tricuspid valves
yes.
open and sigmoid valves close.
Excellent. Excellent. Very good. So as Callum said, first the auricles contract. So from its name, auricular systole, auricles contract. Auricles contract, so the blood will flow from the auricles down to the ventricles, and bicuspid and tricuspid valves they open, and the sigmoid valve close. This is everything related to the auricular systole. Now let's move to the ventricular systole. Ventricular systole, as Amir said before, it's zero point 0.3 seconds. How can we detect this? This can be detected by zero point 0.4 minus zero point 0.1, so it's zero point 0.3. This is always like this? Yes. This will be constant. So always auricular systole is zero point 0.1, ventricular systole is zero point 0.3 seconds. What happened for the ventricular systole? From its name, ventricular systole. Pay attention here. Ventricles, they contract. Ventricular systole. Systole means contraction, so the ventricles will contract. Then the blood will flow from where to where? From the ventricles toward what? Toward the pulmonary artery and the aorta. So the blood will flow from the ventricles toward the pulmonary artery. So the ventricles will contract, so they move to the pulmonary artery and the aorta. What happened here? The bicuspid and tricuspid valves will close. Why? To prevent the blood to move back to the auricles. So whenever the blood moves from the auricles to the ventricles, the bicuspid and tricuspid valves, whenever they allow the blood to flow in the auricular systole, they close. Whenever they close, the blood won't move back to the auricles. While here, what happened? The sigmoid valves will open. So here, the sigmoid valves will open. So here I'm talking about this exercise. This exercise, I'm going to talk about the figures. Here, auricular systole, what happens? The blood will flow. First of all, we have contraction. So the contraction of the auricles, the blood will flow from the auricles toward the ventricles. Here they are the sigmoid, the bicuspid, and the tricuspid valves here. Okay, they are open and they allow the blood to flow from the auricles toward the ventricles. Whenever the blood moves from the auricles to the ventricles, in the ventricular systole, what happened? The bicuspid and tricuspid valves they close. Where is the blood? The blood is the dots here. The blood is found in the ventricles here. Okay, here is the blood. It's found in the ventricles. These are the ducts. This is the blood. Then, whenever ventricular systole occurs, what will happen? The bicuspid and tricuspid valves, I said they are closed. Why? To prevent the blood to move back to the auricles. So they are closed, and then what do we have is that we have the opening of the sigmoid valves. So the sigmoid valves, they open. Why do they open here? Sigmoid valves to allow the blood to move to the pulmonary artery and to the aorta. Okay, this arrow is showing that we have the the opening of the sigmoid valve. This yellow arrow shows the opening of the sigmoid valve. So they move to the pulmonary artery and to the aorta. So here you have to know that first of all, whenever we have auricular systole, the auricles will contract. These are the auricles, left auricle or right auricle. the auricles contract. So whenever they contract, they push the blood to move from the auricles toward the ventricles. And the bicuspid here and tricuspid valves, they are open. If you see here, they are open. Okay, then what do we have? Notice here, they are opening here bicuspid and tricuspid valve, they open. Whenever the blood moves from the auricles to the ventricles, what do? They close. They close, why? To prevent the blood from move from the auricles back, from the ventricles, sorry, back to the auricles. So they close to prevent the backflow. And then what happens? Like the arrow shown in the yellow one, it shows the opening of the sigmoid valves. So the blood will flow from the ventricles toward the pulmonary artery and to the aorta. This is everything related to the ventricular systole, fistulae, and auricular systole. So ventricular systole, ventricles, they contract, the blood will flow from the ventricles towards what? To the pulmonary artery and to the aorta. Bicuspid and tricuspid, we said they close, and this closure prevents the backflow of the blood into the auricles, while sigmoid valves, they are open. So till now, we've finished everything related to the contraction. Now we'll move to the relaxation. Relaxation is called the general diastole. It's GD, general diastole. Its duration is zero point 0.4 seconds. Why? Because the relaxation and the contraction, both of them, they have the same duration. What happens? Diastole, as he said, it's relaxation. So general diastole is the relaxation of both auricles and ventricles. Then, what do we have? The blood flows from the organs into the auricles. So the blood moves from the organs toward the auricles. Bicuspid and tricuspid, they start to open, but they are not open completely, while the sigmoid valve, they are closed. These notes and these events, they are very important. So you have to study them very well. So what happens during the general diastole? It's relaxation. So auricles and ventricles, both of them, they relax. And then blood will flow from where to where? From the organs toward the auricles. And they will prepare themselves to the next cycle or next beat. So blood will flow from the organs and they come to the auricles. Bicuspid and tricuspid valves, they open slowly and they don't open completely, step by step. They open completely where? During the auricular systole, and the bicuspid valves and tricuspid, as I said, open slowly, and the sigmoid valves, they are closed. This is everything related to that. Auricular systole, general ventricular systole, and general diastole. Moving now to the cardiac cycle. As I said, cardiac cycle, these are the phases: auricular systole, ventricular systole, and general diastole. Auricular systole takes how many time? Takes zero point 0.1 seconds. Ventricular systole, zero point 0.3 seconds. And the general diastole is zero point 0.4 seconds. So here, auricular systole and ventricular systole, this is for the contraction. Both of them, they are for contraction. So their time or their duration is zero point 0.4 seconds, while general diastole is for the relaxation, and also it's zero point 0.4 seconds. So as you notice here, that relaxation and contraction, both of them, they are the same time. Both they are zero point 0.4 seconds. So here we can know that the heart contracts as much as it relaxes. Moving to this figure, they said classify in a chronological order the four diagrams that show the phases of the cardiac activity. So the black dots represent the pathway of the blood, and we have to give the title of each diagram and to put them in the appropriate order. So if I want to choose one to do this, I would choose Fadl Basma. Fadl, if I want to order these, we have figure A, figure B, figure C, and figure D. So if I want you, Fadl, to arrange them in chronological order, we have A, we have B, we have C, and also we have D. So if I ask you, Fadl, to arrange them in chronological
Yeah.
order. Which one is the first one? Yes, Fadl? Which one is in the first one?
Yeah, yes.
Which one is the first one? Auricular systole, end of ventricular, or general diastole?
Auricular
Auricular
systole.
systole. And the second one? So the first one, Fadl say
End
it's
of.
the A, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we have ventricular systole or end of ventricular systole, which one is first?
End of ventricle. Systole.
Now, to start first, we have with the ventricular systole, and then we move to the end of the ventricular systole, and the last one is the general diastole.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Let's move now to Abbas. Good morning, Abbas.
Hi,
How are you?
fine.
Okay, Abbas. They said we have the auricular systole. Okay, already I said it's the auricular. What happens here? What can you say about these valves? What do we call them, these valves? Already I explained this a couple of minutes before. What do we call these valves? These valves, they are called what? Bicuspid and Abbas, do you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, so I'm asking you, what do we call these valves
mm,
that open during the auricular systole? What do we call them? They are called bicuspid and
I forgot.
the tricuspid valves, right? So these
Mm,
bicuspid and tricuspid valves, they
uh-huh.
open. So what happens? These are the auricles. I will put A for the auricles, this A for the auricles, and
Mm,
V for the ventricles, and this is V. So
mm,
bicuspid and tricuspid valves, they open. What happened? The blood will flow from the auricles toward the ventricles. So this
mm.
is the auricular systole. Okay? Moving for ventricular systole. Here I'm going to pick Lana. Good morning, Lana. Thank you, Abbas. Good morning, Lana. So you can hear me, Lana? Hello. Okay, maybe Lana has a problem with
Yes,
connection. You hear me? Okay, great. Good
yes,
morning,
yes.
Lana. How are you?
Good morning. Fine.
Okay, so here I'm going to talk about the ventricular systole. Okay,
Yes.
ventricular systole. First of all, they said that the black dots, they represent the pathway of the blood. So where are the black dots? In the auricles or in the ventricles?
And the ventricles.
Excellent. So first step, you have to know that the blood is found in the ventricles. Here are the bicuspid and the tricuspid valves. They are opened or they are closed.
Up.
Did you see here? They are opened or closed. I'm going to remove all the drawing. Here, they are opened in the figure A.
Yes.
They are open. Do you think in figure D they are opened or closed?
Up. Open.
Opened? Pay attention. Here they are
Yeah.
opened.
Close. Closed.
Give a look. There they are opened. While in this figure, what? They are closed.
Closed.
So they are closed, but the blood didn't flow from the ventricles to the pulmonary artery or the aorta. So here you are at the beginning of the ventricular systole. So the ventricles,
Yes.
they are contracting. Thank you, Lana. Moving now to, you need Jad. I want to hear your voice. Jad Shahar, good morning. Good morning, Jad. Hello, it's me. I think Jad is not with us. Let's see the last time. You can speak, Jad. I don't know what's the problem with Jad. Let's move to Hadi Fatlallah. Hadi, good morning. Good morning, ya Hadi. There's connection problem, I think. I don't know. So let's move to Mahdi also. Let's check Mahdi. Mahdi is here. Mahdi, good morning. Okay, don't know what's the problem. So let's solve this. End of ventricular systole. Ventricular systole here, the bicuspid and tricuspid valve, they are still closed. But what happened here in the yellow arrow here, what happened is that the sigmoid valves, they open and they allow the blood to flow to the pulmonary artery and to the aorta. So this is the ventricular systole. And last one, the general diastole, the blood flows toward the auricles. So the blood is found in the auricles, and the sigmoid valve, the bicuspid and tricuspid valves, sorry, they are slowly opening. So here, what I want from you to know that arranging them, this is exercise number 12 on page 72. So arrange them in the order is A, D, B, C. Figure A showing the heart during auricular systole. Why? Since you study the events, so you can solve this. If you didn't study the events, you can't solve this exercise. So the auricles, they contract to allow the blood to move from the auricles to the ventricles. Bicuspid and tricuspid valves, they open, while the sigmoid valves, they are closed. Moving to figure B, it's showing the heart at the end of ventricular systole, as we said, since the ventricles, they contract to push the blood into the pulmonary artery and the aorta. Both bicuspid and tricuspid valves, they are closed, while sigmoid valves, they are open. Figure C showing the heart during general diastole. Why? Because the heart relaxes to allow the flow of the blood from the organs into the auricles. Sigmoid valves, they are closed, while bicuspid and tricuspid valves, they are slightly open. And the last one, which was figure D, it was the ventricular systole, since the blood in the ventricles, and the bicuspid and tricuspid valve, they are closed, while the sigmoid valves are still closed till now, and they didn't open. So it's the beginning of the ventricular systole. So this is everything related to the heart and the cardiac activity for this session. Thank you.